Hi, this is Joe with Hypermile, and Hypermile is one of the companies that I've started in hopes to do different projects on electric vehicles, electric bikes, and other similar things. And what I want to do is do a tour of my build out and plans on my 2021 Mercedes Sprinter van. So let's get started a little bit here. And so bought this a year ago. I did not buy a brand new. So previously had a 2011 Mercedes Sprinter, effectively the same van, but it was a diesel. This is a 4-cylinder 9-speed gas powered turbo 4, and it actually runs better than the diesel that I had. The diesel I had, it seized the engine at about 310,000 miles, which was awesome. But I'm really liking this one with the 4-cylinder gas engine. It performs quite well. I can do 75, 80 miles an hour on the freeway or on the highway and get okay gas mileage, about 16, 17 miles a gallon with AC on. You'll see that I have made a couple of changes with the van, and we'll go outside and then inside and look at the whole build up. So we'll start here. I do not have really any protrusions other than this spot here, which is for my secondary AC, and I have yet to do any other like plugins or things like that to be able to do things like shore power or whatever. I haven't needed it. So this is my electrical and water setup back here. So on this side I have batteries. On this side is a water tank. So you can see down in here there is a water pump and a heater right back in here. It's a propane heater, and it is plumbed in with PEX. We'll show the front there to show the different plumbing aspects that we did. To go over some of the different things here. So these are the Humsiank, however you pronounce that, 12 volt 300 amp hour batteries. So I'm running 2 of these. They go up into a bus bar system. It is fused, as you can see, with a cutoff switch. I went up and did the Renogy 3000 watt inverter, which works awesome for everything that I have on here. It also has a auto switch in it, so if I did hook up for doing shore power, it would come into this mount point right here and allow the inverter to automatically switch to shore power. So that transfer switch, I think, is a fairly important thing. I am about to put in a second solar charge converter. I am thinking about testing out running 2 electrical systems, and I have some AGM batteries that I may put in here and run a secondary system that just does the refrigerator. So the refrigerator I have is a 12 volt Rec Pro, and what I'm looking at is with my bigger system with the 600 amp hour, between 300 amp hour batteries, is I can run my AC. So this is a 12 volt AC system. You'll see the front unit and when we go into the main part, but you know, the goal is that if I'm in a hot climate, I live in Phoenix, go to California quite often, going through Palm Springs and places like that, the ability is to run the system and not have to worry about running out of battery power. So that's one of the goals. If I can take load off of these batteries, like running an AC, my fridge, which takes about, it drops a volt. I'm normally at 14.2, and if I'm running the fridge all the time, I'm usually about 13.2, 13.4 on my batteries, and I want that volt back. It makes a difference. So that's part of the system. I do have a spare inverter there just in case I had some issue. I can wire into that real quick and I can run something if I had to badly. So I carry things in here. So my bed platform is at this level here. It's a RV Queen on the inside. and this allows me to put storage here in the middle. I have roughly about 40 gallons of water. I have a system to be able to push water into it. At some point, I will go ahead and put a little shower nozzle in the back here and a port so I can hook up city water to it and either push into my tank, or with the switch of the valve, just be able to run right from city water if I wanted to. So that is a goal. So I will aim for that. I also run propane. So when I do run the system, I take the propane out, put it outside the vehicle, and then run my heater. I also run propane because I do Blackstone. So I have a Blackstone grill that you can see up there. I can pour it into that, and it gives me plenty of power to do what I need to do. These pedestals back here so I can put a bike. I am about to redo that a little bit because with my AC unit, it's taking up a little bit of my space. The AC is more important, so I will figure out a solution for that. Okay, so this is a quick walkthrough of the front of my unit, and this is a very typical Mercedes interior here. I've upgraded, put a Boss touchscreen with the iTunes in it, so that's pretty easy to do navigation no matter where I go. Pretty standard seating. This is all manual. Go from there. So this is the main part of the living quarters, so we can see in here. So I custom built the cabinets, obviously. Got the fold out additional space for the kitchen area. My controls are down in here, so I can turn my inverter on from this point. I am able to monitor my battery power here. I do not run a shunt at this moment to be able to do deeper things, but this does show me that I have functionality. This is my RecPro RV fridge, and then I love this microwave. It's a Toshiba convection. It does everything you could possibly need to do. Then we did the shower. I'm still doing work here, but it's fully functional, and I do the portable toilet. Have storage all the way around. I am still working on this, but I have to do some other things to pretty things up. Little trim work here and there. Paint this again. We opted to do this type of a sink. So this is awesome because it folds down and it gives you space up on your countertop. And just little bits and pieces here. Like I said, it's a work in progress, but it works out quite well. We've done Vegas, Los Angeles, the beach, all kinds of things in here. Got a trap door here to get to different storage there. Like I said, this is the RV Queen. We put a extra mattress pad on top of it, and it does our job here. Lighting is just a work in progress, just to test out, make sure that we're doing what we need to. If we got enough lighting. We do have the CO2 detector, lighting back in the back. There also is USB plugs that are covered up at the moment. So we're just trying to do various things here to see how clean and how to improve as we build out. I do have ceiling wood to go in, so it's some birch paneling to go up on the roof and the like there. So that's a basic tour. Okay, and one last point here. So I run 3 residential solar panels right now because they're inexpensive, and this is putting out about 220 per panel. So I'm 600, 700 watts, and this more than charges my system, keeps me up and going. As you can see, I'm sitting at 14.2, and it keeps it pretty much there. It allows me to recharge. So on this system, I have a Unistrut bolted in the roof, and then I built a mount for my my internet. Okay, I wanted to go over a little bit on the build out in regards to the materials that I chose and why I did that, and try to explain some of the reasoning that's there besides the why I did that, but nonetheless. So as you can see, I've used wood in a great portion of the entire build. Underneath is, you go from the ground up, I guess, is the original Mercedes floorboard. I laid this already insulated flooring material on this. It was fairly cheap, got it at Home Depot. I think it took 4 boxes, locked it all in. There's areas that I don't really care about, like these corners back in the back. Nobody sees them, you don't walk on them. It doesn't matter to me if it's fully covered. The living quarters is actually done in a fairly decent way. I do have some trim work to do there, but I made that choice there to do those basics on purpose, because there's parts of this that matter to me and other parts that's not that big of a deal. So you can see the flooring here is done. Like I said, this is some basic snap together flooring. Again, I got it from Home Depot, and that was the first step that I did. I didn't do anything on the walls just yet, so put the flooring down and then start building up from there. After that, I started to insulate the walls. So I did a combination of different insulations here. So I have the traditional like home type insulation with the foil backing, and then I've done this Foamular Owens Corning foam as well in certain places because of the density and how easy it was to work with. So in the ceiling is running this purple stuff, and the reason I went there is because of the thinness. I wanted max height. I didn't want to take up a lot of space. Also, I'm going to be running solar no matter what, so I actually have some reflective nature to be able to work with. I am not worried about cold climate because I'm in Phoenix. My times going into truly cold where I'm below 30 degrees is maybe once a year, so I'm really not heavily worried about certain things here. But all the main panels have this reflective, and I felt it was more important to try to reflect the heat back through the body of the van rather than try to do it like in a house. They recommend doing the reflective part back into the interior to reflect your heat back in, but I did it opposite because I want, in Phoenix it's 110 degrees today, I want to reflect the heat back out. So go back here into the back again to explain a little bit more, because you can see some of the build aspects of it. So you can again see that there's foam up here on the walls, and then I did a combination of different things. I have some framing in here, so this is 2x4 set on end because I didn't want to rip this. It was just extra work to do it, so it was easier to set up, build frame out there. My walls where I need wood is done in 2x2. My cabinets are done in 2x2. So I technically 2x1 3/4, because I actually ripped on a table saw the 2x4s, rip them in half, and then do my build out from there. So my walls are built out like this here. Foam, spray foam up in the top. I didn't insulate the back, I wasn't worried about it. So there's spray foam in places, there's Qualifill put in places, the purple insulation in the very roof, just little bits and pieces where it's truly needed. So this is the basics here. So another thing I did too is in the ceiling there are spars that go all the way from the front to the back on these support pieces, these support channels. So you can see that this is self-tapped in. It goes from the back at this point all the way to the very front cab. And with that, in certain places like on this side, I have wider wood, so if I want to do overhead cabinetry, I was going to do the soft-sided stuff, I can screw directly into that and not have to worry about where I'm going to hit wood and be able to support it. So that's one big piece of this puzzle overall. Okay, let's go into other materials. So this is still a work in progress. So I did this about 2 weeks ago to try to better mount my AC condenser in the back here, get my heat to exhaust out through the door, and then secondly how to duct this. So I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to pull this together and if I'm going to build something special, but this is really set up so I can seal and try to get the majority of the fan heat to blow through and try to get it to exhaust out the back rather than trying to pressurize the back with hot air. So that's one of the ideas here, is to build this. So it's not the prettiest thing at this second, but it starts to get the job done. It allows me to run this as I need to. Yeah, there's just little pieces like this here. This is the condensate drain. I'll have to put some type of a vessel for this to drain into. So that's one piece of it. I didn't get crazy about using high quality materials back here because it really isn't a need. The OSB is just fine, especially when you cover it with some inexpensive carpeting like this, kind of like you're doing speaker boxes. It also helps with sound deadening that way. I didn't see a reason to go crazy with, you know, 3/4 plywood everywhere. It just was an added expense. So you can see how tight the doors are still. You have to kind of slam them a bit. But up in here, some of the finishes, you know, tried pretty hard, but you can see how here it's 2x4 is ripped in half, and it's really 1x1, or I'm sorry, 2x1 3/4 to build out the framing in here. I had mentioned I was going to, you know, do some trim work and get this to be a little prettier, but you know, that's just one of the pieces. This is a standard countertop. I actually bought this one off of Amazon because it's cheaper. It was below $200. I think I got it in about 160. And what I did too was, these are normal collapsible hinges, no big deal. But one of the things that I did here is I cut this custom because I didn't want the full 24-inch width. So this is narrowed, so that way you have more walkway space. Took the remainder of it, built out the shelf. This is all done in lighter weight plywood. I tried to do plywood on this part to make it a little prettier. I still need to put some more cabinet hardware, but when you get a lot of stuff in these cabinets, when you go around corners, stuff shifts and your doors open. So I got to do some different works here. But in here you can see it's part OSB because in the interior it doesn't matter to me. Maybe at some point I'll do some higher quality woods and like, and I still need to do another coating of paint in here. So this is just one coat to get it to come together. Have you know, bins to do kitchenware. This is kitchenware. I'm sorry, this is a small burner. This is really cool that you can find on Amazon. I shouldn't really go into this as a materials, but these make doing van stuff really easy. So this is everything you need for cooking. You've got your utensils, baster, scissors, cutting board, hot glove, bigger utensils, spatula, all that fun stuff, all in one neat little easy thing to take care of. This is the same idea. So this is cooking pots, something you can simmer into, make your macaroni and cheese. It's a cool little setup overall. Very compact. It all kind of comes together. So that way you're not putting in 40 different things into here to take up your space. Okay, you know, just various things. Butane to run this stove in a pinch. Trash, obviously. In the back here, I run little steps to make it easier to get into the bed. But as you can see, very simple stuff. It doesn't have to be crazy to do the build out. And then what you're looking at doing here, so you can see stuff shifts and it makes it hard to get the doors open. But okay, switch hands. There we go. All right, so this is a vacuum. So if you want to clean up stuff, coffee maker, and then you can see the plumbing underneath here for, this is the drain, your water feeds, and then back here in the back you can kind of see it, the PEX coming up. Portable heater that runs on propane like this, makes it nice and simple. Got 4 or so extra propane canisters. These work out pretty good, but they do use a lot of power. Okay, so that's kind of the idea here, is to be a very wise use of space. Back over here in the shower. So this is a Rec Pro shower pan with a step down in it. Nice and simple to put in. I put it on a riser so that way my 1.25 inch plumbing for the drain, it comes back behind this wall, and it's just a straight shot out the back, and I drill the hole straight down by the batteries, and eventually I will put a gray tank back there. The sink, that small hose off of the drain comes over and feeds into that drain, so it acts a little bit like a vent, but generally speaking we're not running any solids through there. We're just running soapy water or just plain water out. And then the toilet is separate, so it can be pulled out if you need space, do whatever you need to do, put it back in for travel. But that has its own holding tank, and then you drop it wherever you need to do for your hardcore black stuff there. So I found this wall paneling here at Home Depot. It was a bit expensive. It's over $100 a sheet of 4x8, but it worked out pretty well. I need to do some more caulking on here to get things to clean up a little bit. So this was just first pass getting it functional. I've got a little shower curtain up in here on the top and some lighting. So when it's dark and you need to be able to see when you're taking your shower, you've got some space going on there, and you know your lighting is reasonable in here. All lighting except for the ones in the back are turned on in this panel down here. So you can turn everything on and off while standing on the ground. It makes it a little bit easier. Up here I did a couple different things. So there's like coat hooks and things like that. Part of my speaker system is here to try to make it sound better, even though it's not. And then one of the first things that we did was put in this overhead overcab shelf, which puts a lot of our linens. Here's our laundry basket. There's another one here for trash, backup stuff, fire extinguisher, just little things. Umbrellas are up in here. The cool thing here is that this has the integrated curtain rod. These curtains, we got the blackout type from IKEA. Big improvement, because going down the highway I don't have to run the AC in the back. I can block my AC into the front from the standard cab and have some control. Very important part of it. You can see that you still have space in your overheads up in the front. You can throw your hats and tissue and whatever else. I've got some speakers up in there. I was unhappy with the speakers in the door. They sounded like AM radio. So yeah, this is a big piece of it. You know, our towels, beach towels and everything are all pushed up into here. And then in a pinch, you get done with the shower, you can kind of tuck a towel here to be able to get it to dry. But you know, this ceiling portion here, like I said, those spars here go front to back, and you can see the screws down through here supports your ceiling panels and keeps them from flexing and bowing too much. And what will happen is, like I said, I bought a 1/4 inch wide birch 4x8 sheets of ply. I've already ripped them into roughly 2 to 3 inch wide strips. We will build strips front to back and get the ceiling to build out. Okay, so some future plans. Just a lot of it is finishes and niceties that we're trying to do. So obviously trying to do better with the lighting is a big piece of it. It's not quite where I want to. It's functional for right now, so we can use this and get out of the 110-degree heat when we need to. But you know, there's little bits and pieces where we need to do trim work here, get the carpeting on the walls to do better, because it's easier to sleep and push against that carpeting rather than, say, a hardwood wall. One of the things we're trying to figure out is exactly how much wood do we want to see. Does it make it claustrophobic, or is there certain things that make it feel bigger? Because you know, you don't have a lot of square footage in here, So you're trying to figure out how do you maximize and feel decent about what's there. So, you know, it's that balance of aspects. But other future plans is to finish out this cabinet here, paint it, get it to look decent. This hanging closet here, do some finishing in here. I don't have it finished. It's just got water, extra water bottles in there, gallons and stuff like that to travel with. The next thing would be exterior wise. We want to get a roof rack and bolt it in place, and then put in higher wattage solar panels to be able to deal with our stuff here. So like I mentioned before, these solar panels are only about 220. They were originally about 250 watts a piece, but they have some wear. These panels are way over 10 years old. So I bought them used from a place called Santan Solar, which is in Gilbert, Arizona. You can buy them by the pallet. I bought a pallet of them. I used some in the house here, some broke, stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, it's just to make those improvements there. I wanted to get my solar working better. I realized that I put everything in parallel so I can get higher amperage, and my thoughts were that I can charge batteries quicker based on amps. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not worried about how fast I charge the batteries. I actually want to use the solar to supplement my system. So say if my AC is on, if I'm in parallel mode, I'm only really pushing 200 or so watts in to supplement the AC running. So I actually am running in a negative situation where the AC draws more than what the solar is putting in. So I need to reverse that, put everything in series. So now I'm pushing between, say, the three panels, I could be pushing 600 to 700 watts. And that should pretty much negate running the AC. And I don't have to draw my batteries down when it's sunny outside. Obviously at night, yes, you're going to draw your batteries down, but it's cooler. So hopefully in like an eco mode, you're in a better position there. I probably will put a shunt in, put the shunt panel up here so I can see things are working more. My solar charge controller, I do have a Bluetooth on it. I can monitor that part. I do pretty well. I can't really complain about anything that's there, so I'm good with that part. I'm definitely going to improve my stereo. I'm not happy with what's here. I need a little bit more, because when you're spending hours and hours driving on the road, you want some good tunes. You want to be able to listen to things and hear it clearly and not, you know, work hard. So there's a speaker that's hidden back over here and another one here. I'm going to upgrade that subwoofer, and then you can see my other speakers that were up in the upper part. It just doesn't sound all that great, but it's functional. You know, those are some of the upgrades. I want to buy the back door panels that attaches to the hinges so that I can move some stuff back outside. So like I can mount my propane tank, for instance, on the outside of the door, put other things, some tools, jack, but mostly on this side I want to be able to put my spare tire. So once the spare tire goes in over here, then I can mount my gray tank where the spare was, and everything is nice and clean at that point. I have my Starlink up here. I don't think I need to change that. I had theorized at one point that I actually wanted to double my solar up here by actually building a 2-tier rack and then sliding solar out from underneath to be able to double my capacity. But I'm going to try to run 3 to 4 panels in the future with a higher wattage per panel. And I'm thinking that with the more modern panels, we can achieve our goals without having to build some crazy apparatus and make it all work. And then probably final, 2 things finally. I want to obviously upgrade the wheels to aluminum wheels. I don't know if I want to stay with the 17-inch rims or go up in a bigger size, because having this 75